The 2025 year is here for the defending state champs. Hello, everybody. Terry Bennett here on the inaugural 2025 Muenster Hornet Football Show. As we've been doing, I think for now, the fifth year. Coach Brady Cars will join us each and every week during the season to talk the game that was and talk the game that is, and hopefully defend the state championship. Man, that was a fun ride last year, culminating up to one of the greatest state championship games that has been played over the last, I'd say, 10 years or so, as Muenster outlasted Shiner in a classic. And don't be surprised if we have those two teams meeting up. But in saying that, even though these two teams, Shiner and your Muenster Hornets, are both loaded with a ton of talent from those state title teams or the state championship game teams, this is going to be a really interesting year in 2A Division II, and Coach will talk about that. And in this inaugural episode, we're kind of talking more about the overall, talking about the district, talking about the region, and in the state level at 2A Division II. And then as the season goes with the tougher games, we'll get more in-depth with each one of those games. But all right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, it's the head coach of the Muenster Hornets for the first Coaches Show of 2025 right here on L4 Media. Hey, Coach, are you ready to elevate your locker room experience? Well, at H&H Locker Solutions, we pride ourselves on delivering the highest quality lockers at the lowest cost in the Southeast. As a coach-owned business based in Alabama, we understand the needs of the coaches and the players alike. Our mission is to improve your locker room and streamline your process, and we're coming to Texas. Did you know we offer a free locker program? That's right. We ship all across the USA, ensuring you get the best solutions tailored just for you and your program. Want to learn more? Drop a comment or give Coach Harris, a.k.a. Ty, a call at 256-458-4427, and let's take your locker room to the next level. Terry Bennett back here on the Muenster Football Show, now joined by the head coach of the Hornets, Coach Brady Carney. And Coach, first off, I know it's been a few months now, but congratulations, state champion, 14-2 season. Before we start about this season, let's just recap last year. Man, one of the best state championship games that's been played in the last 10 years.
Yeah, man, I'm like you. I really thought last year we were getting better throughout the year, and I could see improvement. But I thought we really hit our stride starting the playoffs. I thought we played our best football all through the playoffs, starting with game one with Hamlin up through Griever, and Shiner they done some things that put us in a bind because they're well coached like they are every year. But our kids battled through, and like you said, man, just a great game. Of course, being part of it was amazing, but I'm sure watching on TV was the same. But yeah, man, our kids just battled their tails off and came away with the win and the state championship.
This is your second state championship with Muenster. What is the difference between this year's defending champ edition versus the last time's defending champs?
Oh man, so you're saying the 2018 team compared to the 2025 team?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think the main thing is I feel like we may have a little more depth this year than we had 18. And then me being honest, I don't see a Mart out there like there was back then. That's when Mart dropped down to D2, and they had the little running back they called Choo Choo, and then they had the freaking stud quarterback. I can't remember his name, but oh god dog, man, they were a really good football team, and we played them in the quarterfinals. But there's some good teams out there, but I just don't see there's not a Mart at our level, if that makes sense. I may be wrong. Bremont may be Mart. Shiner may be Mart. I just don't see it right now. But that's the main difference. I feel like this year we've got really good depth. Got a lot of kids coming back, probably more than we did in 18.
Yeah.
We got some sophomores that are now juniors and a freshman or two that can help us on Friday night. So I just feel like our depth, like we're really too deep at most positions, if not all of them, with that guy behind that first guy that can play a little bit. So I feel like our depth is really good this year.
You bring up a good point that there isn't a Mart, and I agree with you. And in fact, if you look at 2A Division II this year, I mean, y'all have a ton coming back. Shiner has a ton coming back. Usually you would kind of pencil y'all two in as, okay, they're probably going to play in the state championship, and there's still a good chance that happens. But Division II this year, in my opinion, is so much deeper across the boards.
Yes, I agree. 100%, man. Like I said a while ago, there's teams that I won't even mention that still have, that have got really good football teams. And Shiner's one of those, like you said, they're like us, a ton of kids coming back. Bremon's got a ton of kids coming back. Our region, as always, is just full of talented teams. Collinsville, Benthorst, Albany, Wheeler, Wellington. It just goes on with our region like it always does. And then Region 1, I feel like Region 1's really, I think it's got 4 or 5 good teams there, from Ropes to Wink to Stratford to Groover. So yeah, man, I feel like the depth and the depth is really there into a Division II this year.
As your second time being a defending state championship head coach, what have you learned, or what do you think you're going to learn from how 28, the next year went? As you said, again, y'all played a Mart that was just on a different level, but are there things you can learn from there that you would do different last year that you'll do different this time?
Man, I think the main thing is doing doing a better job probably of keeping the kids motivated and hungry, if that makes sense. Uh, I'm not saying I didn't do that in 18. It's been a long time, but that's one thing we're really focused on this year. You come back after winning it, and I'm sure Coach Spade can tell you the same thing in Albany. You get those kids, you're worried about them being a little bit satisfied with reaching the ultimate goal, and maybe not being as hungry the next year. So, that's something we emphasize every day. I didn't feel like we had it in the first scrimmage. I thought we looked a little flat, but I thought our energy was way better last week versus City View in our second scrimmage. So, just one of those things we're staying on the kids and talking about a lot. Nothing's given. You got that target on your back and everybody's out to get you. You've got to continue to work day in and day out, continue to get better, and never be satisfied. So I think that's probably the main thing we're emphasizing this year. And I'm not saying I didn't do it in 18, but maybe I didn't do it well enough for those guys.
All right, let's talk about the first opponent, Fort Worth Lake Country. You and I were talking off there. With private schools, you never know what you're going to see when you get there. You've seen a little bit of film. What are your thoughts on them?
Well, like I was telling you earlier, I do feel like they have some pretty talented athletes. And the numbers in the scrimmages probably don't match up with the roster and what they're going to blow out this week. But 14, 15, 13, some of those guys at the quarterback, linebacker, a couple receivers look really talented. We only got to see one scrimmage because they only had one scrimmage. They did an inter-squad scrimmage with the other one, so we only got one film on them. But, that's what I was telling you earlier. I'm not for sure. I can't tell exactly what they have up front on both sides, but I do know that they have some talented guys in the skill position on offense, and then, of course, in the secondary, linebacker on defense. So, it's we'll find out come Friday, but I think I'm pretty sure they're one of those teams that year in and year out they compete pretty well in their division, and I fully expect those guys to come in here Friday and give us a challenge, and hopefully we can step up and play a solid football game. There's going to be mistakes first game of the season, but fight through that, and I hope our effort's great, our enthusiasm and our energy's up to where it needs to be for our first game of the season.
Final question. You're talking a little bit about the region and everything, and I always kind of do these little every few weeks talk about the district. But one of the things about your title defense is we said 8-2A Division II was probably the toughest district into a Division II this year, and the depth in your district is big in my opinion.
No, it is. Collinsville lost a couple of pieces, but Collinsville's got some really loaded lower level classes. Their sophomore class is really talented. So they're going to have guys step up and fill those roles, and they're going to be very competitive just like they have been for the last, 3 years, 4 years. Collinsville's going to be a great team. Lindsay is going to be very physical, big up front with an exceptional quarterback in the Foster kid Lane. Some really good running backs. They're going to be deep. Era's going to throw out some really good athletes. Not sure what they're going to have up front yet. I haven't got to see any film on them. I won't get to see that for a while, but they're going to throw out some kids that are really athletic in the back end and the skill position on offense. Santo's always well coached. I think Coach Mann does an exceptional job, especially on the D line. We always have a problem with their front, man. Does a great job, and then they run the option on offense, which you don't get to see, but does a phenomenal job. And Coach Sanders has been in Chico for what? I think this is his 4th or 5th year, probably one of the longest tenured guys in Chico. And we've talked about it. I feel like consistency in a program is huge, and it really improves that program. So I think Coach Sanders will, he's always got his work cut out for him because his numbers aren't always great. But I think he does an exceptional job, and I think this year will be the same. They got a great running back this year who ran for over 1,000 last year. So, top to bottom, man, I think our district's really tough, and I'm not for sure there's not 3 teams that couldn't battle for the regional championship. Just out of our district, with Lindsay and Collinsville and us.
Here at L4 Media, we talk high school football, 4A, 3A, and 2A in Texas. We talk East Texas sports. We talk NFL, guy talk, movie and booze. We also talk wrestling and so much more. And you can see it all on our YouTube channel at L4 Media Company. Like and subscribe.
Terry Bennett back here on the Muenster Football Show right here on L4 Media. I want to remind everybody, if you have any questions, thoughts, or comments, you can email me at txbroadcaster75@gmail.com. Also, if you'd like to be a sponsor of this Muenster Show, you can, again, email me at txbroadcaster75@gmail.com, as this is going to be a fun season. And if this is your first time ever checking out the Muenster Coaches Show, basically each week I'll talk to Coach Carney about the game that was played the week before, the game that's coming up, some interesting things in district. Sometimes we talk a little bit about like coaching philosophies and how he approaches the game and schemes and all that kind of fun stuff. And the great thing is even if, for some reason Muenster doesn't make it back to the state championship game this year, they're probably going to play a lot of games. So we're going to at least get 12 to 13 weeks of these, I would hope. So I hope you are on this 2025 journey with us. All right, until next week. And boy, next week's going to be a fun one because it's holiday. This has been the Muenster Football Show right here on L4 Media.